Sienna work in finance? The sister laughed cynically. Since she realized those firms are filled with hot, rich guys, and that her commerce degree could actually get her a position as a research assistant, which has just got to be a glorified secretary. If not, she'll probably be fired before her 3-month probation is up, but it gives her an excuse to flit around and eye her prey. Something in the back of my brain triggered when I heard the name Sienna. It sounded somewhat familiar, but I couldn't put a face to it. I pictured last year's holiday party, the summer golf tournament, the partners' annual barbecue. Had Parker mentioned a new research assistant in the office? I couldn't recall. His executive assistant was Barb, a gray-haired grandmother of 3 who sent homemade shortbread home with him at Christmas. Sienna. Oh! Sienna Summers! I vaguely remembered Parker mentioning a woman named Sienna Summers. Had he told me she was new? I couldn't recall the context of the conversation, but I did remember thinking at the time, who has a name like Sienna Summers at an investment banking firm? Isn't it more of a porn star name than an analyst's name? Maybe her parents had other aspirations for her. But now it sounded like she wasn't an analyst at all. Not that it mattered. But what's the point of hooking up with a married guy? The friend was now saying, interrupting my thoughts. Challenge, maybe? And it's no strings attached sex. Besides, I wouldn't put it past Sienna to believe she could make the guy leave his wife. Anyway, supposedly this Parker guy is super hot. Parker? Did she just say Parker? My husband's name? My good-looking husband's name? No, I must have heard her wrong. She most certainly did not say Parker. She couldn't have. Or maybe the guy, whose name is not Parker, works as a valet, parking cars in the garage under the Bay Street Tower in which Feldman Davis is located. That must be it. So he's the Parker, because he parks cars. I used all my mental energy to will the sister to say the guy's name again, just to be sure she most certainly, definitely did not say my husband's name. Say his name, I wanted to scream, but didn't. Because even though we weren't in a high-end spa, it just wasn't something I would do. My heart was beating in my throat, making it difficult to breathe. And so, without thinking, I did the unthinkable. Excuse me? I tapped the girl beside me on the shoulder, and she turned to look at me, raising her perfectly plucked eyebrows. I wanted her to be in her mid-50s, which would reasonably make her sister Sienna somewhere in the same decade, and effectively rule her out of being a mistress to my Parker. Because surely my 32-year-old husband would not cheat on me with a woman nearly twice my age, right? Right? Of course, what I should have been thinking was that surely my husband wouldn't cheat on me at all. The girl beside me, the sister, was not 50, not even close. She looked to be about my age, or maybe a little younger, and was wearing an adorable floral halter dress and had long blonde hair held back with a crocheted headband. She could have been my friend. Except, of course, I would never be friends with someone whose sister would have sex with my husband. Obviously. I couldn't help but eavesdrop on your conversation. I paused, hoping she would suddenly smile, shrug and say not to worry, that her sister lived in Atlanta or London or Dubai. Except Feldman Davis didn't have branches in Atlanta or London or Dubai. Or maybe she'd tell me I'd misheard the names, that what she'd said was her sister, Sandra, was having sex with Peter. Or that they knew I was Parker's wife and Parker had put them up to it, a belated April Fool's Day joke in May, and ha ha ha, wasn't that funny. But Parker wasn't the type for silly pranks. Instead, the girl beside me stared, a mixture of confusion and annoyance on her face. She raised her eyebrows. That guy you were talking about, I fumbled. What did you say his name was? The girl continued to look at me as though I was crazy, and maybe I was. I was sure she was going to tell me to mind my own business, in not-so-polite terms, but she suddenly seemed to have a change of heart. She looked around her and then leaned closer. Why? Do you know him? Do you work for Hallett?